Good evening and thanks for watching CTV Sports. I'm Esteban Starcer.
And I'm the one and only Travis Verde. On Saturday, the CSU football team played in the annual Green and Gold Spring Game. Under a modified scoring system, the Gold team defeated the Green 45-40. The Gold team was the defensive squad, which had many bright spots. As a unit, the defense racked up 5 sacks and 3 interceptions. Kevin Davis led the team with 8 tackles, and redshirt freshman Justin Sweet came up big late in the game with an interception. Now on the offensive side of the ball, safety turned running back Jason Oden ran for 84 yards on 16 attempts. And quarterback Garrett Grayson completed 16 of 24 passes for 170 yards. Head coach Jim McElwain was pleased with the way the team played.
I'm excited about these guys. Wasn't real excited about the turnovers. You're never going to win a game giving it to the other team. But, I thought it kind of got sloppy at times when we started putting some guys in, this and that. But some guys got an opportunity to play, and that was fun.
Travis, Jason Oden, once again, the safety converted to running back with an impressive showing.
Yeah, he looks like a natural out there. Been playing safety ever since he's come to CSU, and he just looks like he's been playing as running back his whole career. He looks really agile out there. I mean, look at his yards per carry in the spring game, 5.25. That is, if you ran the ball every time, you're going to get a first down every 2 plays with that.
Exactly. You like to see a back who can also go out there and catch the ball out of the backfield, be a dual threat.
Yeah.
Found the end zone once again, looking like a pre-Bibbs. You want to have a running back who can finish off drives and cross that goal line. So far, he's been able to do that in both the scrimmage and now the Green and Gold game.
Yeah, and in the beginning of this, we saw a little fighting going on at the spring game. Are you concerned about that at all?
Not too much. I like to see the emotions running high a little bit. I know it's a inter-squad scrimmage here, but you like the guys going out there playing hard. It shows that they're giving effort, trying hard. Competitive players, football players, I don't think you'd be too concerned about it.
I'm right there with you on that one. I mean, it's a spring game. You like them getting fired up. And we got to talk about the secondary in this game.
Yeah.
Last year's secondary struggled a lot. 3 interceptions in this game, played really physical. They weren't playing soft on the receivers. They were getting up in their face and playing bump and run.
Yeah, it shows you that these guys are being able to stick in their coverage down the field on these receivers. Last year we saw too many times receivers being able to get separation from the CSU secondary, get some of those big plays down the field. So for them to be able to go out there and get those interceptions shows that the coverage is a lot tighter.
Yeah, definitely. And if this team wants to take another step in their success, they got to have that secondary, because a lot of times last year teams would blow us up for hundreds and hundreds of yards passing, and secondary's got to be a key to us taking that next step.
I agree, Travis. In other off-season sporting news, Dwight Smith was released from the men's basketball team last week at his own request. Smith, who battled injuries all season, fought for limited playing time all year. He redshirted the 2012-2013 season, and his numbers were still worse than his sophomore campaign under Tim Miles, where he averaged more points and more minutes. Smith is the 3rd player to be granted his release from the team so far this spring, coming after David Cohn and Marcus Holt. Travis, is this a big concern for the Rams losing Smith going into the next season?
I don't think it's a huge concern, but it is. We're losing a player that was a spark plug. Every time he came into the game, he brought a lot of high energy, and it seemed like when the Rams were down, he would come and bring that energy and get the team rolling. But he struggled all last season. Points per game were down. He averaged a lot of fouls every time he came in. But I do think we'll miss the energy he brought.
Yeah, I would agree. One of the emotional leaders out there on the team. It just never seemed like him and the coaching staff, Eustachian assistants, ever saw eye to eye out there. Just seemed like he gelled much better with Tim Miles at the helm. It was unfortunate because I had pretty big expectations for the guy going into the season, but they're going to miss him a little bit next year, but I think they should have some players who could step up in his absence.
Definitely. A lot of transfers that are coming in, highly touted recruits, and someone's definitely going to have to step up and take the helm as the energy guy, because every team has one of them. But I think one of these guys will be able to do that job.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to take a quick break now, but we'll be back before Patrick Walk and Paul Varley.
And coming up next, I'll give you a look at CSU tennis sensation Kaylee Schultz.
Don't go away. The CSU men's lacrosse team traveled south to Denver for the annual game against those stinky Buffs from Boulder. CSU had a lot of success against CU, winning 13 of its past 14 games heading into Saturday's game at Mile High Stadium. CU came out as the stronger team, however, and jumped out to a 5-1 lead. That proved to be too much of a deficit for the struggling Rams to overcome, as they fell 9-6.
Every team strives for that one player who is a leader on and off the court. For CSU women's tennis, that player is Kaylee Schultz. Recruiting players at the collegiate level is usually hard work for coaches, but John Messick had Kaylee Schultz at hello, when he came knocking.
Honestly, this was really the only school I wanted to come to, so it wasn't hard for him. It was mostly him just asking if I wanted to come. I'm really proud to play for him, and he's been a wonderful coach.
The senior captain from Poway, California takes pride in being a CSU Ram and makes sure her teammates do the same.
Coming here, the tennis is strong. Like we want to do the best that we can, and we don't put up with not putting effort forth.
This pride in being part of the Ram family, along with the relationships she's built, makes Schultz believe she came to a special place.
A lot of teams don't bond like we do. That's something that's really strong that we have, is we all are great friends and look up to one another and push one another.
With only a few matches left on the schedule, Schultz knows this is her last hurrah and has embraced being a role model for her teammates.
It's been fun, and having the girls around and having them ask for advice, and just knowing that I can be there to help them and hopefully be a leader for them. And we're just a close, little knit family, and I've loved it all.
All good things must come to an end, but luckily for Schultz, this will be one that she can smile about.
I just couldn't be happier, honestly, and CSU has been wonderful for me, and I'll be sad to go, but I had a great 4 years.
Played in her final regular season match on Saturday against rival Wyoming and lost a heartbreaker at the number 2 doubles position by a score of 8-7, but gets one more stab at the Mountain West Championships on April 24th through 27th in Fresno, California. And it's time for another quick break.
But when we come back, we'll show you another latest installment of a wacky CSU sport.
You've already learned about bike polo and the skydiving team, but up next we'll give you a peek at the bass fishing team. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, you're watching CTV Sports. One of the things I love about this show is all the quirky sports that we get to cover. One such sport is bass fishing. Ian Sylvester has more.
So you might not know that CSU has a competitive bass fishing team, but don't worry, you're not alone. So I'm now joined by CSU Bass Club Fishing Team President Chris Sabina. And Chris, how does someone get involved with this sport in a state as cold as Colorado?
Well, it all starts at a very young age for most of us. A lot of us have moved from out of state to come in here, so we all have an extreme interest in bass fishing. A lot of us have, like I said, did this when we were really young, so it's just kind of grown and developed. And it's always great to get that kind of support when we're out at a place like Colorado State. So.
All right, and you guys have a national tournament coming up at the end of May, a week after graduation. How did you guys get into this national tournament?
Well, actually, there was a qualification process, and there's also allowed to be one team from each university, and it's actually kind of surprising every time we sign up for these events just how much people don't know that Colorado actually has a state bass fishing team.
Now, Chris, you guys use a ton of different rigs and baits while on tour. What are some of the ones that you all use on the team, and what are your personal favorites to use?
Well, obviously, if I want to talk about every single bait that we use, it's going to take forever to get through them. So I'm just going to go through the basics and talk about what we threw today. We were using this bait. Now, what we use today is called a tube jig. Okay. It's a plastic bait that is hollow in the middle. It's a half a tube and then half with tentacles on the end. You take a lead weight head and you throw it up to the center of this bait, followed by a hook. This keeps the bait grounded, and it keeps it right in the strike zone along the bottom, so that's why we caught so many fish today.
Now, Travis, we only got one more sports show after tonight, and then it's time for Flippy Floppies.
The Flippy Floppies, that's right, Steve-O. I'm excited for all of the baseball season, but even more excited for the World Cup.
That's right, you're not the only one, Travis. Students all around campus are getting excited for the big tournament, and they even threw in their 2 cents about who they think will win it all.
Soccer, woo!
Spain, Germany, I mean, they're really good.
Cristiano Ronaldo, whatever his name is, I've seen him before.
Well, USA all the way, of course.
I'm rooting for Germany.
For the Netherlands, of course. USA, man, nobody else.
I'm like half German, so Germany's kind of like, but I live here, so I kind of feel like I have to do US.
Well, we're the best country in the world, so should have the best sports teams.
USA has been improving a lot since the previous 10 years, so they should do well.
I don't really know that much about soccer, but I'll watch it.
I'd really like to see Germany win, and I think they have pretty good chances.
Probably Brazil.
I think Brazil or Spain.
Brazil won the World Cup 4 times, so they have the biggest chance since the World Cup is going to be held in Brazil.
In a quick update of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Avalanche lose in overtime to the Minnesota Wild, dropping Game 3 in this one, still have the 2-1 lead. The World Cup is still a ways off, though, but there are plenty of sports entertaining us right now, just as I mentioned, the NHL playoffs, along with basketball.
Basketball, yeah, it's been fun to watch, especially those Avs. You see in the first game, Patrick Waugh pulls Varley, and then Johnson with a huge save to keep the game going. And then we have Stasny coming up huge with the goal at the end of regulation, and then the goal in overtime. It's just been so fun to watch this team.
Yeah, phenomenal. Avs caught a little bit of a break with the puck sliding, and then it started to roll, slowing down a little bit so Johnson could catch up to it. But it kind of epitomized their season all year long, being able to come back when you didn't think they could, while going with the unconventional, pulling the goalie with 3 minutes left instead of like 30 seconds like most coaches. Pulled it off, defended home ice in Colorado. Unfortunately, they do drop Game 3, but they still lead it 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 lead. And how about McKinnon? We got to talk about McKinnon.
Yeah.
7 points. The young 18-year-old has just come up huge for the Avs.
Yeah, the kid's been phenomenal. 7 points in just 2 games. He skates so great over there. I know during the break you kind of mentioned people have been bringing up a little bit comparisons to the great Wayne Gretzky.
And that's a huge name to be with. That's comparing to Michael Jordan. People say you can't compare to Jordan. You definitely can't compare to Gretzky, but his name's being thrown in there, so that just shows how great people think this young McKinnon is.
No doubt about it. And now they do lose Game 3, so it's not going to be a clean sweep. But do you still like the Avs' chances to be able to pull off the first-round win in this one?
Oh, I love their chances. They're already up 2-1, and everything Patrick Waugh has done this season so far has worked. Pulling the goalie with 4 minutes left, it just seems like he knows what's going to happen. He knows his team very well. They have a well-rounded team. There's a lot of depth with this Avalanche team, so I think they definitely have what it takes to win this.
Yeah, I'm still confident this team as well. I was a little bit surprised Barry didn't come up with a miraculous winning goal there in overtime. He did it so many times during the regular season. But I still think you have to like this team's chances. If it does come down to making it to that last game, they get to play back at the Pepsi Center in front of the home fans. So you definitely think that gives them an advantage.
Oh, huge advantage. And you got to know those Denver fans are ready for that game. It's going to be loud in the Pepsi Center.
Yeah, they've been excited for hockey, and hopefully their Avs can continue to play well and finish out this series. Well, that's all the time that we have for you tonight.
You won't want to miss next week's show, though, as we say goodbye to Steven. He's all set to graduate and join the real world.
Yeah, and we'll have the best of CSU sports plays of the year as we recap CSU's 2013 and 2014 athletics.
Until then, you can check out our website at collegian.com and follow us on Twitter at CollegianC. Have a great night.